Hi, my name is Marcus Rose and I'm about to present my capstone project. Throughout this capstone project, I will be learning a new skill, pastry arts and baking. My question for this pastry arts and baking capstone project is, how can you further improve your baking skills through recipes and how does it help you? This is a legend, so it just helps you when you're marking this to further and easily go through it. What there is to learn. You may think that pastries pertains to only bread, but there are in fact various types of food that within the name of pastry arts and baking. Down below is a list of things I believe that I need to learn in order to acquire the skill of pastry arts and baking. They include pear tart, eclairs, German crullers, croissants, and caramel. Why didn't I include any bread, you may ask? Well, I have a few main reasons. I decided not to include bread in my project due to the fact that I feel that after making bread numerous times through my pastries courses and at home with my family, that I've already mastered that part of pastry arts and baking. Bread is also very simple to make and normally uses the same methods over and over again. And last but not least, although bread tastes very good, I feel that I'd rather include fun things that I'd be able to bring over to family events, etc., rather than plain old bread. So, how do I plan to master pastry arts and baking and acquire this new skill? Well, I plan to do this by completing complex recipes that push the boundaries of my baking knowledge. This will allow me to learn all the basics of pastries and baking, which would acquire me the skill of pastry arts and baking. So, essentially, through these tough recipes, I will teach myself the things that I have not yet learned, the last things that will acquire me the skill of pastry arts and baking. Research, what are possible job positions in this career field and what appeals to me? Well, there are not very many variations in this job, considering that it is mainly just a part-time job. But mostly it's just hands-on work, being a baker, being a cashier at the front desk. Eventually you could become a manager, or if you go to further schooling, you could eventually become up in the corporate ladder, but yeah, that's really it. Is further education needed in order to advance? You don't need any education for a baker. You only, for most places I looked at, you basically only need to be able to lift 50 pounds, mainly because of the fact that you're going to be able to need to lift very heavy bags of flour. So, are there any programs nearby that can help you further advance? Yes, there are. There are many different places. I was very surprised to see that, and the one that looked most appealing to me would definitely be Vancouver Pastry Arts School. And they offer a variety of courses that you can take relating to baking. What are some challenges that you may face in the field? Well, like any profession, there are many challenges you might face. A challenge for this profession is there's not that much room to go up, as it is only basically just a part-time or full-time job. You're not going to be able to move up in the corporate ladder without a business degree, most likely. Or, yeah, that's basically it. And the pay grade. Oh, another big challenge of this is the pay grade that you're going to be getting is very low, and you'll find that it would be very hard to live a life in the lower mainland with that kind of pay grade. What benefit not limiting the pay might you get? Basically every part-time baker will receive little to no benefits, but if you are a full-time staff member, you may receive paid vacation, sick leave, and occasionally some dental coverage. And in a very odd case, your employer might help you pay for your retirement plan. What are some surprising things that I'm learning in this career area? Well, I'm learning a bunch of new things pertaining to benefits, basically most things relating to the job of pastry arts and baking. What is the turnover rate? The turnover rate for being a baker, since most of the time it's a part-time job, I couldn't really find really good turnover rate stats on this job, but after looking through numerous websites, I realized it's just a part-time job, so I looked up the average time for a part-time job, and it was a little bit over 6 months, so that's what I'm assuming. what information is there overall for overall job satisfaction? Well, there's not that much information as well due to the fact that it's mainly just a part-time job. But I was able to find a few things. People laid out a pros and cons list. Most of the pros were relating to the fact that they have that they don't have to work on vacations and they don't have to work super hard hours. And mainly the people, as you can tell when you go to bakeries, they're pretty happy, so I'd say there's a pretty good overall job satisfaction. If life circumstances change, what other jobs can you transfer into? Well, due to the fact that this is a minimum wage paying job and there's not very, you don't need any education in order to take this job, there's not very many places that you can transfer into. There may be a restaurant that you might be able to go work at that specializes in baking desserts or something. That's in a very, very rare case, and essentially you're not going to be able to transfer into any other high paying jobs with this on your resume. What else am I learning when I'm deciding to pursue or not pursue this area? Well, as I'm doing this project, I'm figuring out the benefits of overall job satisfaction, and I'm learning the wage is very low, and as that is a very important part to me, I don't feel that this job would be a very good fit for me, and I also feel that this is not really a job that you pursue rather than a job that you fall into. And does this look like a career area for me? I really do not believe that this is not a career area for me, and I believe that it is more of a hobby that I'd like to pursue. This is my experience week by week, explaining on what I did and how I attempted to stay on top of the ball. Products of my learning. So this is my pear tart. This was a very, very fun project, and I'll tell you why this helped me later. Okay, so making this pear tart was very fun. It taught me how to make pie crust, which you may think is super easy, but there's a lot of technique that goes into it, and there could be a lot of things that goes wrong. This was also the first time that I've ever done pan baking, and it turned out very good. Another thing I learned while doing this project is how to flip a pear tart without damaging the shell, which there is a technique to, like there is for everything in pastries and baking. And I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I'm really happy with what I learned. For eclairs. These eclairs were fun to make and pretty easy. They taught me a few things. They taught me how to hollow out a shell in order to fill it with another filling, like things like cream puffs and stuff. These are essentially cream puffs with chocolate covering on the outside. And so they taught me how to hollow out a shell in order to fill it later. And they also taught me how to properly dip pastries into a sauce the correct way. And they ended up tasting really good, just as if you had got them from the store. If I changed something, I would do them again, because as I'm going, I'm learning more and acquiring a higher skill in this area. I would definitely put in the oven for a little bit less, which would lead to the shell being less hard. German coolers. So as you can see in the beginning, they looked pretty disgusting, but they actually did turn out very well, as you can see in this picture and this picture. In the end of this pastry journey, I was very relieved with how they turned out, because the majority of the time they looked pretty bad. Learning this dish has taught me two things. Number one, it taught me how to deep fry, which is a very, very essential thing to know in pastries world. Number two, it taught me how to properly glaze donuts and coolers properly. Yes, there's a proper technique to it, and it's actually a little bit different than you'd think. It's not as easy as you think either. Well, they tasted very good, and I'd definitely do it again. Croissants. These croissants did not taste very good. They tasted pretty dense, and they took a very long time. They needed to proof, chill, and rise for almost 24 hours. Which was not very fun. More importantly, they taught me a new cool way to roll and taught me patience. I sadly did not take a picture of what they looked like in the end, but they looked basically the same thing as that, right? As you'd imagine. But my family came and ate them too quick, so that's why I didn't do it like that. And this taught me how to roll bread and style it in a way to do rough puff dough, so that instead of staying together and dense like you want bread, it's more like spread out, which I thought was pretty cool. Caramel. Making this caramel was very fun, although I did have to make it twice because I screwed up the first time. But the caramel was very hard to get it right due to the precision that you need when boiling it. Making this caramel taught me how to properly use a thermometer while baking, which is a very crucial element in baking if you want to make sure that you do not overcook or undercook anything. And so basically now it's just in my fridge and my family keeps eating spoonfuls of it, so that's how you can tell it's pretty good. So this is my summary. I did every question separated and I put it, I have my bibliography, and that's it. Thank you for listening to my capstone presentation, and I hope to see you next year.